Hello, welcome to any community. In this particular video, we are going to discuss the context of Purvarupa, which is being termed as premonitory symptoms or which are also being considered as prodromal symptoms. That means these are the lakshana they are going to get observed before the manifestation of the actual clinical features of the disease. When you think about the term Purvarupa, it is comprising of two different words, Purva and Rupa. So, the term Purva in Sanskrit it refers to east, or otherwise it is referred as prior, or the ones which are being observed earlier. Rupa refers to the lakshana or features as such. If you are adding these two words, so Purva that is not being coming under east as such, which is being depicting the direction, which is being depicted as the pre or the prior lakshana, they are going to get observed in the patients as such before the manifestation of the disease as such. When you think about uh, the features of Purvarupa, it is being mentioned that sthana samshayinah kruddha bhavi vyadhi prabodhakam doshah kurvanti lingam Purvarupam taduchyate. Kruddha doshah sthana samshayinah, that is the bhavi vyadhi bodhakam lingam kurvanti pururupam tat uchyate. So that means the vitiated dosha, which are being undergoing the state of sthana samshaya, which are indicating the forthcoming disease, they are being termed as purarupa. Madhukosha, Madhava Nidana, first chapter, fifth shloka. Further, Parashara says, Pururupam nama yena bhavi vyadi vishesho lakshate natu dosha visheshaha. As per Parashara, Pururupa is the one which is depicting the forthcoming disease. But here, the dosha dominance of the disease manifestation is not possible to predict. That is the description mentioned by Parashara. Charaka says, Avyaktam lakshanam tasya pururupam iti smritam. That means the pururupas are those which are having the unmanifested lakshana or poorly manifested lakshana. They are being termed as Pururupa. Pururupam pragutpatti lakshanam vyadhehe. Charaka Samhita says, Vyadhehe pragutpatti lakshanam Pururupam. The prior manifestation of the lakshana before the manifestation of the disease, as such, that is being termed as Pururupa. Ashtanga Hridaya says, Pragurupam yena lakshate utpitsuraamayo dosha visheshena anadishtitah lingam avyaktamalpatva vyadhinam tadyathayatham. Pragrupa are those which are mentioned, considered to be forthcoming, that means which are actually unmanifested one. And here, dosha visheshena anadishtitah, we are not going to analyze the dosha dominance in the disease as such. Lingam avyaktamalpatva. So, that means unmanifested lakshana or poorly manifested lakshana or minimal manifested lakshana in the individual which is indicating the forthcoming disease is termed as Pururupa. To sum up, Pururupa or prodromal symptoms or premonitory symptoms, they are going to get observed in the fourth stage of Kriya Kala. So that is Sthana Samshaya stage. So that means where the vitiated dosha that will be moving from alimentary canal to intravascular compartment. Later it may enter into the interstitial compartment. Further, it is considered to be unmanifested lakshana or poorly manifested lakshana. So these actually depend upon the nature of the source of the entry of the Nidana or pathogen, the number of entry of the pathogens going to take place into the body, and virulence of the pathogens entering into the human body. They are going to determine the Purvarupa. As far as synonyms are concerned, several synonyms are being mentioned. Among that, Purahassara is one such synonym, which is specifically mentioned in the context of Atisara. Pragrupa, it is also being termed as a synonym of Purvarupa. Chakrapani says, Purvarupasya tavat paryaya abhidharam yadeva rupasya tadeva. So that means all the synonyms of rupa, they can become the Purvarupa provided रूपादय एव हि पूर्वशब्दयुक्ताः पूर्वरूपपर्याया भवन्ति. If you are adding the prefix purva or prak to the synonyms of rupa, they become the synonyms of purvarupa. It is being mentioned that as far as synonyms of the rupa, tatra lingam, akritim, lakshanam, chinnam, samsthanam, vyanjanam, rupam ityanarthantaram. So these are the synonyms of rupa. If you are adding the word purva, that is Purvalinga, Purva Akriti, Purva Lakshana, Purva Chinna, Purva Samsthana, Purva Vyanjana, Purva Rupa. So these are the synonyms as such. If you are adding the prefix Prak, then also they will become the synonyms of Purva Rupa. That is Praklinga, Prak Akriti, Prak Lakshana, etc. Like that, so these are the synonyms of Purva Rupa. As far as types of Purva Rupa are concerned, two types are there as per Sushruta and Charaka. Sushruta says, Shramavarathi Ruvranatvam Vairastyam Nayana Plavah Ichchadvesho Muhushchapi Shitapata Tapadishu Jrimbhanga Murdo Guruta Romaharshu Archistamaha Apraharshascha Shitam Cha Bhavantitpatsati Jvare Samanyatah. So these are the Samanya Purva Rupa as such, wherein the dosha dominance is unable to predict by the even the wisest clinician, they cannot able to identify. Whereas Vishesha Pururupa, we can able to identify the dominance of the dosha in the forthcoming disease. That is Vata Jajvara, Jrimbhatyartham, that is the excessive yawning. Pitta Jajvara, Nayanadaha, that is burning sensation in the eyes. Kafad Anannabhinandana, Kafa Jajvara, Anannabhinandanam, or otherwise the loss of appetite or lack of desire to take the food as such. As far as Samanya Rupa are concerned, Shrama, that is the exhaustion by doing the activities. Aratihi, what we can say, restlessness. Vivaranatvam, that may be discoloration, maybe yellowish or maybe reddish or maybe whitish, etc. or bluish, etc. Vairasyam, that is Asya Vairasyam, that is altered taste perception. Nayana Plavaha, that is watering from the eyes. Ichchadveshu muhushchap shitapata tapadishu. Desire or aversion towards the hot and cold atmosphere or food substances frequently. Jrimbha, excessive yawning. Angamarda, body ache. Guruta, heaviness of the body parts. Romaharsha, horripilation. Aruchihi, tastelessness. Tamaha, darkness in front of the eyes. Apraharshaha, that is the type of the discomfort. Shitam, that is the person may be feeling the coldness in the body. So these are the Samanya Pururupa are as per the Sushruta, wherein the dosha dominance is and we are not going to be able to predict it. The second three types of the Pururupa mentioned by Arunadatta, that is Kinchit Sharira Pururupa, Manasa Pururupa and Sharira Manasa Pururupa. They are the Sharirika Pururupa in the sense that is Pururupa related to the somatic part, that is physical aspect, wherein the Pururupa may be Jvara, Alasya, Asya Vairasya, Gatra Gaurava, Jrimbha, etc. Whereas the Manasa Pururupa in the sense they are the related to the psychological part, maybe Aratihi, restlessness, or Hitopadesheshu Akshantihi, that means the aversion to hear the what do you say, the Hitopadesha, that is the good sayings by the nearest and dearest ones. The Sharira Manasa Pururupa, that is they are considered to be psychosomatic aspects, that is Amla Lavana Katuraseshu Pritihi, that is the liking towards the Amla, Lavana and Katura Sattva. So that is indicative of a Pitta dominance. Swadu Bhakshiyeshu Dveshaha, so that is the aversion to take the sweet substances may indicate Kapha dosha dominance. So like that, they are the second set of three types of the Pururupa. As far as significance of Purvarupa are concerned, first and foremost thing, whatever we are going to look into, they are having an importance in relation to either diagnosis, it may in relation to the treatment as such, or either it may be helpful in the differential diagnosis, etc. First and foremost thing, Jwarasya Pururupe Lakhvashanam Apatarpanam Va. If you are observing the Pururupa in the Jwara stage, ideally you can plan either Lakhvashana or Apatarpana. Lakhvashana in the sense the doesn't mean that it could be a fasting, it may be light food substances as such, or either the Apatarpana. So the measures which are actually responsible for the lightness of the body that can be planned when you are observing the Jwara Pururupa. Or otherwise, if you are looking into the specifically Vishishta Pururupa, if you are observing Vataja Jwara Vishishta Pururupa, then Ghrutapana is ideal. So this is the significance of noting about the Pururupa as such. Further, it is being mentioned that Pururupani Sarvani Jvaroktani Atimatraya Yam Vishanti Vishatyenam Mrityuhu Jwara Purahasaraha. So that means if you are observing all the Pururupa mentioned in the context of Jwara, then they are considered to be very, very difficult to treat. Sometimes it may lead to even death of the individual also. So that is Shramo Aratir Vivaranattum Vairasya Nayanaplavah Ichadeshu Muhushabhishita Matatapadisu Jambhanga Mardo Guruta Romarshu Archistamaha Apraharshashitam Bhavantitpat Jware Samanyate. If you are observing all these Lakshana, then they are considered to be asadhya in nature. The third aspect, as far as significance is concerned, it could be in differential diagnosis. In specifically in the diagnosis of Rakta Pitta and Prameha. So we can able to use in the significance of Pururupa, presence or absence of Pururupa. That is, Haritra Varnam Rudhiram Chamutra Vina Pramehasya hi Pururupaihi Yo Mutrayettam Navadet Prameham Raktasya Pittasya hi Prakopaha. Whenever if you are looking into the Haridra Varna or Rudhira Mutra, that is yellowish or reddish colored urine, in the absence of Prameha Pururupa, then we are going to make the diagnosis of Rakta Pitta. If the person is having the yellowish or reddish colored urine along with the Pururupa of Prameha, then we are going to make the diagnosis of Prameha. Here, Rakta Pitta diagnosis will not be done. The next significance as far as Pururupa is concerned, Etavaha Pururupani Rupani Alpani Yasya Vai. If you are observing milder form of Pururupa, maybe in terms of the duration, maybe in terms of the distribution, maybe in terms of the severity, etc., then that particular type of the Pururupa, they are considered to be Sukhasadhya in nature. Nimitta Pururupana Rupana Madhyame Bale. If you are looking into the Pururupa in terms of the moderate severity, in terms of the duration of moderate duration, and in terms of the distribution, if it is present in the moderate areas, then they are considered to be Krishna Sadhya in nature. So this is how the significance of Pururupa will be helpful in deciding the line of treatment. It may be helpful in deciding the Sadhya Sadhyata or prognosis as such, or it will be helpful in making the differential diagnosis. Let us look into with a few examples as such. Suppose if there are three different Nidana, their person is going to take, in that particular situation, initially he is going to take the Dhati Sevana. So that means the source of the entry of the pathogen will be there through the oral route. So that means the Lakshana they are going to get start maybe in the oral cavity. Sometimes it may be present in the throat region. Sometimes it may be observed in the larynx, or it may be observed in the nasal cavity or paranasal sinuses as such. So that is what we can say the initial Lakshana as such. So it can be considered as Pururupa as such. And the third day, if he is taking the Shitala Ahara Sevana. So for example, if he is consuming the mango as such along with dadhi as such, in that particular situation, the person may have the progression of the symptoms little bit much more severe form may be observed in the oral cavity, or it may be observed in the throat region or larynx region or the nasal cavity or the paranasal sinuses. Further, the fifth day, if the person is sitting in the AC room as such, Shita Sthana Sevana, in that particular situation, the Lakshana, specifically in the oral cavity, etc., that may be persistent if he is not doing any kind of the preventive measures. Plus, the person may have an impact on the Twak also. So, like that, the Purvarupa manifestation that may vary depending upon the Nidana Sevana. As far as the next aspect in terms of the Purvarupa is concerned, that will be decided by the presence of a Pratyatma Lakshana. Suppose if the person is taking Dadi Sevana, so if it is associated with Shiro Gaurava on the first day, so on that particular situation, we are going to make the diagnosis of a Kafaja Shiraha Shula. So if the person is continuously consuming the Dadi Sevana, second day or third day, there may be a possibility of a running nose as such. In that particular situation, the diagnosis may turn towards Pratishyaya. Here, Shira Gaurava becomes the Purvarupa. Further, if the person is continuing the Dadi Sevana, then later the person may develop Kasa. That may be initially presented with watery sputum. Later, there will be a possibility of a whitish colored sputum. Then there may be a possibility yellowish colored sputum as such that may be possible. In that particular situation, Shiro Gaurava and Pratishyaya may become the Purvarupa. Further, if the person is continuing the Dadi Sevana, then the person may develop Shwasa or breathing discomfort. Here, there may be a possibility of Shiro Gaurava, Pratishyaya, and Kasa may become the Purvarupa as such. To simplify this, whenever if you are saying the Purvarupa, so that may be sometimes that there may be a possibility continuation of the same aspect in terms later that may become the Purvarupa. Initially, it will be in the milder form. Second thing, the Purvarupa may be observed in relation to the similar Srotas itself, or otherwise there may be a possibility of either one Srota Mula affliction that can be observed. So that is what is considered to be the context of a Purvarupa as such. Take home messages from today's discussion are Purvarupa is considered to be one of the Nidana Panchaka. So wherein the C is being termed as per the current Ayurveda learners, that is prodromal symptoms or premonitory symptoms. They are usually being observed in the fourth stage of Kriya Kala, or otherwise what we can say, the Sthana Samshaya stage of Kriya Kala. There are two types are being mentioned, Samanya and Vishesha, wherein Samanya Purvarupa, we are not going to observe the dosha dominance in the disease manifestation, whereas in case of the Vishishta Purvarupa, we can able to observe the dosha dominance in the forthcoming disease can be predicted. As per the another set of the classification of Purvarupa, Sharirika Purvarupa, Manasa Purvarupa and Sharira Manasa Purvarupa, they are being mentioned. Wherein, in case of the Sharirika Purvarupa, we are going to observe the Lakshanas related to the Sharira. Whereas, in case of the Manasa Purvarupa, we are going to observe the Purvarupas in relation to psychological aspect. Whereas, in case of the Sharira Manasa Purvarupa, we are going to observe the Purvarupas in relation to the psychosomatic aspect. As far as significance of this Purvarupa is concerned, we are going to use this particular context of Purvarupa in Sadhya Sadhyata assessment, that is the prognosis of the disease assessment, and even we can able to use this Sadhya Sadhyata plus even the Chikitsa aspect can be planned appropriately depending upon the appearance and non-appearance of a Purvarupa as such. Dear ANA community, that's all for today. What are the major key takeaways from today's discussion? Mention in the comment box below. And what is the one video that you'd like to hear in the coming days in this particular channel? Mention in the comment box below and spread this particular video to maximum number of true Nidana learners so that we can make a huge movement out of this particular small message. That's all for today. Something more in the next video. Thank you.